Hello, everybody. Adam Parks here with another episode of Receivables Roundtable. Today, I am here with an expert in the healthcare revenue cycle space, Mr. Deacon Pittman, who is with First Financial Asset Management out of Atlanta. How you doing today, Deacon?
Doing well.
Awesome. Deacon and I have been talking a little bit about some of the challenges that are faced by healthcare providers in that space of financial services. And they've been working on some really interesting tool sets. And I thought it would be fun to kind of come on here today and talk a little bit about his organization and some of the solutions that they've put in place for these hospitals. So let me kick it off. For anybody that's not familiar with you, Deacon, can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and how you got to the seat that you're in today?
Sure. So I have been in healthcare revenue cycle sales for the past 15, 16 years through various facets of reimbursement. And at one point, I took a foray into fintech, which led us into the service today. I thought I had escaped. It turns out no one really ever gets out of healthcare. The service that we were working on had a lot of play and could benefit hospitals.
Oh, completely understood. So, from your perspective, and I know a lot of our viewers are going to be familiar with First Financial Asset Management or FFAM360, but can you tell everybody a little bit about your organization and kind of what you guys do over there?
Well, we have several different silos, but the silo that I'm in with the healthcare revenue cycle, we do bad debt, motor vehicle accidents, third-party liability, really running the whole gambit of solutions.
Okay. Understood. Now, the kind of the topic that we were talking about earlier today was, kind of related to hospitals and their refund processes and the legal requirements that go around that and how that changes from state to state. And it does sound a lot like debt collection. It's weird how parallel some of these things are between the regulatory requirements for debt collection and the regulatory requirements for healthcare revenue cycles. But can you tell us a little bit about some of the challenges that hospitals and other healthcare providers are facing when it comes to even making a refund, right? Like something that simple.
Historically, it's always been a pain point. There are costs associated with the physical manufacture of a check, costs associated with the postage, and someone has to follow up to see if the check's been cashed, has the patient received it. There's quite a bit of reconciliation that occurs each time one of these checks goes out, as well as any escheatment to follow.
Okay. And so, basically what you're telling me is that the hospitals if a hospital owes me a refund, they're going to send me that check. But if that check's for $5, it's probably not a priority for me to get to the bank to cash.
Correct.
So you're now going to spend more money, phone calls, emails, letters, whatever else is required in order to try and get me to cash that $5 check so that you no longer have a regulatory obligation.
Exactly.
Wow. It's an interesting problem, right? Like kind of the opposite of the debt collection space where we're always trying to kind of collect funds. You're trying to give somebody funds and going through multiple pain points to try and accomplish that goal. It's an interesting perspective, and you guys have put together a kind of a cool platform for managing that process, the Patient Choice Refund Distribution Platform, or PCRD. Can you tell us a little bit about that platform and kind of what kind of options that provides for hospitals and how you're helping to solve that problem with that tool?
Absolutely. We have partnered with a tech company to provide a service that allows for electronic payment of refunds. Instead of having to physically manufacture and post a check, a patient can elect how they would like to receive payment, whether that be through direct or instant deposit, PayPal, virtual card, etc. Which all
gives you some good options.
Yes, that's the point.
Okay. And why would the why would the hospital want to go through that process? How does that look for them, and why is a healthcare provider really kind of going after that space?
It's much quicker, and it saves time and money. I mean, if you have 3 employees that are dedicated to reconciling these check payments that are going out, and you're able to inform those employees through a platform that a patient has received a payment and they've cashed a payment on X time, X date, that drastically cuts down on their requirements.
Okay. So you're actually able to reduce FTE by doing this. So you're able to reduce or reallocate full-time employee time in other ways. So that's actually really interesting. It also sounds like this might be a better platform from a patient engagement standpoint. Can you give me any
Absolutely.
kind of color from that perspective?
Absolutely.
So like the consumer can go in there, they can actually enter their information, they can, assuming, update other data
I kind of
points.
lost you there, Adam.
Oh, so like tell me about the consumer's experience. What is the consumer actually going through? Like what's their experience like?
They'll receive a notification with the hospital's logo, so they know it's not someone trying to contact them about their car's extended warranty. And they'll
I like that.
log in using a security verification of the hospital's choosing, whether that be patient ID number, their name, address, etc. Security questions just to cover ourselves from the HIPAA standpoint, make sure we have the right patient. Then they see that they are due a refund and they select how they would like to receive it. There's some folks who don't want to input their bank information, and that's understandable. They can opt to receive a traditional check or a virtual card.
Interesting. So you really are providing a lot of options. Now, from the hospital's perspective, or from the healthcare provider or network's perspective, what does it take to get something like this deployed? Like what's the barrier to entry for them to start leveraging technology like this?
The biggest barrier to entry would be the development of rails for payment. I think anyone can develop a platform and have a platform do something such as track a payment, but the actual disbursement of the payment would probably be the biggest barrier to entry. Receiving money is easy. Sending it out is hard.
Well, how about the interaction between the healthcare providers accounting system and a platform like this? Like what does that connection look like?
It's an open API integration, so they can tie directly in within a few hours.
Wow, so it's got some real simplicity to the way in which you can deploy this. It's not like a heavy IT lift that's going to take months for them to deploy. This is something that can happen, I'm assuming, within a couple of days, definitely under a week, if it's just an open API call that needs to be.
It shouldn't be hard to give money away.
It really shouldn't, right? Like you would think that would be the easiest part of kind of being in the revenue cycle space, but when it comes to regulation, there's always new business challenges that are created. It sounds like you guys have kind of coordinated a solution here that enables these healthcare providers to execute on a requirement, but to do it with as little resource as possible. Meaning that
Exactly.
if they're spending a lot of time and energy on it today, we want to avoid that in the future. And here's kind of a quick to deploy and simplistic solution that can be used to solve that problem.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, anything else that you'd like to tell us kind of about the platform or the revenue cycle space as it comes to the refund side of the world?
I think everyone would agree that this is the way that healthcare is trending towards a digitization and a more encompassing patient experience from pre-registration all the way to refunds. Hospitals want to have those points of contact with their patient and they want them to be satisfied.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And, I think as we continue kind of making more content that is directed towards the medical side of the world, I'd like to have you come back. And I'm sure there's, 16 years in revenue cycle management. I'm sure there's a lot of different topics that we can spend some time
Scars, many
discussing.
scars.
many scar, many scars in the healthcare space. I like that. Good pun. No, I really appreciate you taking the time to participate and join me today. For those of you that are watching, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, both on YouTube and LinkedIn. Deacon and I will be responding to those as they come through. If you have any additional topics that you'd like to just discuss, information you'd like to learn from Deacon, or other guests that you'd like to see me interview on this channel, leave those in the comments below as well. We're going to continue creating great content for the receivables industry. But until next time, Deacon, I hope to see you on my next trip to the FFAM offices in Atlanta, and hope that you're having a good year. I look forward to seeing you in person.
Likewise. Thank you so much, Adam.
Awesome. Thanks so much for your time today, and I'll talk to you soon.
Take care.